Hello and welcome to Anthony Reviews, where Anthony reviews. And this, of course, is my action figure collection tour for the year. If you are new to this channel, around the end of January, early February, I like to go ahead and show off the entire collection that we have in my one-bedroom apartment here. This is something that I really enjoy doing, just because it's a mixture of my stuff, my girlfriend's stuff. You know, we're both toy collectors. I've been a toy collector since 2009. And so we have quite a bit of a collection that spans a lot of different kinds of fandoms, if you will. DC, Marvel, Transformers, you're seeing it here. We've got quite a bit to show you guys, so I certainly hope you enjoy if you're a toy fan. I love looking at people's collections, so it feels good to kind of share my collection with the world as well. Whether it be my stuff, my girlfriend's stuff, whichever, it's just really fun. So let's get into it. First we have here is this little cubby, little bookshelf with books and some figures from the Batman, specifically McFarlane toys. There's a Spin Master back there, but mainly it is the McFarlane Toys Batman figures. My girlfriend and I were really big fans of the Batman from Matt Reeves, and so she took it upon herself to get as many of the McFarlane figures as she could, and so here we are. We've got, Batman, Bruce Wayne, all the villains you'll see soon. It is, not exactly the highest of high-end collectibles, but it is cool to have so much representation from a movie that we really enjoy. Then down below here you can see the villains I mentioned earlier. We've got characters like Penguin, Catwoman, Riddler, quite a bit Catwoman, I would say. The one in the middle was one that they sort of released at a later time, and shout out to our buddy Frank for getting that for us, because we never saw that in stores, so that would have been a bummer. Just some books. Do you see any you like? Let us know. Here we have sort of the first major collection piece in the apartment, that being the DC and Transformers section. Starting off at the top, we have a lot of DC Universe classics from Mattel, a lot of Justice League representation here. If you're going to have a DC collection, you have to have a nice, good-looking Justice League, in my opinion. And, it's not every member, of course. It's a very expensive team, but I feel like if you look at this, you get the idea that this is the Justice League. And I really like the way these figures look. I'm a big fan of the DC Universe Classics line, and I like the way they look on the shelf. So hope to get more, but for now, this is good. Then down below, of course, we have the expanded DC Universe with characters like Teen Titans and other bits and pieces, mainly consisting of DC Universe Classics, but other Mattel lines such as the DC Multiverse and DC Superheroes. You'll see as we go throughout the shelves, just a lot of Mattel representation. There are some different figures here and there, of course, but mainly it is Mattel. But a lot of Teen Titans or just Titans vibes. We've got some other DC Universe stuff there. We've got sort of the Rebirth era from the later Mattel years, and of course the OG Marv Wolfman Teen Titans. Then going down below that, we have sort of a character-specific shelf. I've got a Bat Family set up with all the various Bat Family members they've released over the years. And then moving over from that, we have sort of a Lantern collection. I'm a big fan of the Green Lantern mythos, and so this is sort of that Brightest Day, Blackest Night crew. As I sort of mentioned earlier, not all of them are DC Mattel figures. There's some other ones in there, but not my fault they didn't release Indigo 1. And then next to that, we have the sort of Reign of the Supermen section, which I think looks really nice. Above that, we've got some additional Superman looks. You'll see some more Batmans, and then sort of the extension of the color spectrum for the lanterns as well. Just additional bits and bobs that kind of, I don't know, just wanted more, I guess. That's all it is. Then we have villains, of course. You got to have some iconic villains in the DC universe. Over here, just sort of a hodgepodge, some Suicide Squad members, mainly just random villains that sort of bleed into the Legion of Doom, or at least a good chunk of them. A lot of those collect and connect figures like Grodd and Giganta, a little bit more expensive, but we've got those. And then, of course, that leads into the Batman villains, just because Batman's got the most iconic rogues gallery in the DC universe. That's just how it is. So here they all are, and I think they look good. At least I do. Below that, we have the Deathstroke Dick Grayson collection. Deathstroke, in my opinion, Slade Wilson is the sort of arch nemesis of Dick Grayson, Nightwing. You know, it's Batman and Joker, Superman and Lex Luthor, and here we have Deathstroke and Nightwing. And yeah, I don't know. It's just really, really cool to have so many representations of these characters. I wish I had more Deathstroke, but I think I'm pretty good on the Nightwing collection. I think Dick Grayson has pretty substantial representation in plastic form. Yeah, I mean, you can see it. I don't have to even say anything about it, just a lot of Nightwings. And then we sort of have just a grab bag, a miscellaneous shelf down at the bottom, just various DC figures from over the years, different toy lines, different scales, all sorts of just random stuff. And that's that. We got a little bit of a Gordon collection, just a tiny Gordon collection. I'm a big fan of Jim Gordon. You know, he's a pivotal Batman character. And then just other DC stuff. That's all I really... You know, sometimes you don't warrant a whole shelf. They just kind of just need to go there. If that makes sense. And here we are at one of the biggest, if not the biggest piece of sort of collection, is the Green Lantern Hal Jordan collection. I'm a big fan of Hal Jordan. He's my favorite fictional character, which I guess is not too much of the norm online. There's a certain faction that are really proud to be Hal Jordan fans that I try to sort of distance myself from, but that's neither here nor there. I just really like this character, and so I have quite a bit of Hal Jordan action figures, and I like that quite a bit. There's only so many ways I can really say if I like it, other than, I mean, I would have to like it, right? If by having this many versions of one character, you would assume that I like it. Otherwise, I have a really strange way of showing my distaste for a character, but a lot of different versions, of course, different scales, different lines. Like there's a bobblehead, there's a Lego piece, like all sorts of weird, different stuff. And I like it that way. He's the only character that I like to try to buy all these little weird things for. And I don't see me doing that with any other character anytime soon. We have a couple of inbox figures. I don't have a lot of inbox stuff, but you'll see more of it as the collection goes. And then we've got the Parallax up top, because there's not enough Parallax. I know McFarlane did one. I liked it, but we still need more. Going down, we have one of my girlfriend's favorite characters, and I like her too, Harley Quinn. She is a fan of the classic Harley Quinn, not so much the new 52 era going into the sort of modern Harley Quinn. She's much more a fan of that sort of Arlene Sorkin classic version. Granted, there's some other versions she likes. She, you know, enjoyed her somewhat in the Suicide Squad film. She likes her in the Batman Audio Adventures. And but really, it comes down to classic Harley Quinn. That's her main enjoyment of the character, for sure. So we've got a lot of Harley Quinn stuff, which is nice. Here we have sort of the McFarlane DC Multiverse collection. I've got a good amount of McFarlane toys. Obviously not all of them, you know. You'll see that, but in terms of the DC Universe representation, this is sort of the shelf to do that. So, you know, you've got Justice League Dark, we need a Zatanna, Todd, give us Zatanna. We've got Bat Family members, we've got villains coming up over on the side, like just a bunch of random stuff. And I like that. I like the sort of views into different parts of the DC Universe, the attempts to kind of keep it accurate to the artist's version. I think it's interesting. Not every figure is a winner, and it's not going to work for everyone, but it's a good line, for sure. Moving away from the DC Universe for just a bit, we have the Transformers collection. Now, Transformers is something that I've been a fan of for quite a while, so my girlfriend, however, only recently became a Transformers fan in like the last couple years or so. So my favorite is Starscream. We got a lot of Starscream here. Just a whole lot of Starscream, which is a little bit different from my usual favorites. I like Superman, I like Captain America, I like those characters, and Starscream really isn't any of that, and it's different for me, but I think that's fun. He's a really fun villain. He's ambitious, and he's conniving, and he's a weirdo sometimes, and I like that. So I've got quite a bit of Starscream. This is something where you can collect all these different lines and all these different sizes and scales and designs and comic book versions and cartoon versions and all sorts of cool stuff. So I'm always happy to get a new Starscream. I've even got some movie stuff, some live action movie stuff. I don't think I'll get anything after that, but it is cool to have some live action representation. Moving down to my girlfriend's favorite character, she is a big fan of Megatron. She likes a lot of the Decepticons, honestly, but Megatron is her #1 Decepticon. And so she's got a few Megatrons there. She's collected over the last couple years. And then Ratchet. Ratchet, however, is her favorite Transformer. She's a big fan of the medical field, and so having a grumpy medic character is right up her alley. She loves him. And so she's got some representation for Ratchet here, which is cool, Gonna have a Ratchet fan. And then she loves dinosaurs, which you'll see more of later, so she went ahead and got his I think all of the fossilizers, so good for her. Below that, we sort of have the main Autobot team. This is just sort of the Autobots, just like the Justice League or the Avengers, whatever. These are the Autobots. And, yeah. I could sit here and name as many characters as I'd like, There's Blaster back there, and you could see Red Alert, and sure, but at the same time, it's just sort of about that wide scope of characters. And I think figures have been really great over the past couple of years. I think the War for Cybertron series, Siege, Earthrise, Kingdom, that was all really good stuff. Not the Netflix show. I thought that was not good. But the toys, and going into Legacy, I think have been really good. I think these are some of the best versions of the characters we've ever gotten. If you're a fan of G1 and, that kind of thing. If you're not, I understand. But still, I think it's good. And same thing goes with the Decepticon side of things. Not as many Decepticon figures. I feel like, once you get past, like, the big four, it's hard to get iconic. But we do have a lot of good Decepticon representation here. It sort of struck me that all the good Decepticons are combiners. The Constructicons, the Stunticons, which we do have here. There's a lot of that. But, I've got the Seekers. I've got characters you would think of. Maybe not all of them, and some weirdos tossed in there as well. So I think it's a decent enough Decepticon representation. Could always use more. Get some more guys in there. This is sort of the animated movie shelf in a way. We've got the Dinobots, which, as you may guess, is my girlfriend's sort of main interest in terms of this shelf. And then sort of the main Autobot crew from the films here. So all the Studio Series figures that they've released. And then, as you can kind of see there with Galvatron, we've got the main Decepticon. So I haven't gotten all of it. I'm not going to try to complete it. I'm not a completionist in a lot of stuff. But, this is just 86 movie representation. And then, kind of like the DC shelf, we have an odds and ends shelf here. Like, we've got some Wreckers. We've got some IDW representation, More Than Meets the Eye, another favorite storyline from or comic book or whatever from my girlfriend's perspective, and just some various characters that we both like down here. It's kind of it. And then just some Decepticons as well, including the Overlord himself. If you've read More Than Meets the Eye, you know what's going on. Here is the media center. So I've got games and movies, and you can kind of look at these and judge me about my my movie taste. I don't like all the movies I own, to be fair. Sometimes you buy a movie and you don't like it. But, you know, there's some superhero-themed things over here. I don't think I own any of the MCU films on Blu-ray because they're just on streaming, so... I know a lot of stuff is on streaming, but they're always going to be on streaming because they're on Disney+. Some DVDs. And some more Blu-rays. Just some Blu-rays. Nothing out of the ordinary here. Here's where I put the Nintendo Switch. Wonderful. And then here's some anime DVDs and Blu-rays with an Ichigo statue. Once again, something that my girlfriend really enjoys. Here we have some more Transformers, just because this is the only place I could think to put them. And we have the Shattered Glass collection. Shattered Glass is a fun concept. I would say it's fun, it's harmless, it's just kind of a what-if scenario. And that Ratchet came out in a 2-pack with Optimus Prime, which meant my girlfriend had to get it. And then, oops, she fell down a rabbit hole and bought all of these Shattered Glass figures from Hasbro Pulse with the collector's comic and all that stuff. So, yeah, I'm not going to act like the comic was great, but it was fine. It was fun. It was interesting enough. Yeah, there's some cool figures here. I did do a video showing off the Shattered Glass collection, so if you want to check that out, by all means, watch it after this one, of course. Keep watching this video first. Then we have the Beast Wars characters. I'm not like a diehard Beast Wars fan or anything, but these came out in the Kingdom line, and I just felt like a good chance to get all of these characters. And they're good-looking figures. I don't think any of these figures are horrible or weak links or anything. I think they're all really good, if I'm being honest. So I like it. I like it quite a bit. I think it's a solid selection of characters, and I think I'm done. I don't think I'm going to need to get any more Beast Wars characters. Maybe, like, Silverbolt? Maybe? I don't know. Megatron looks good. This is a Gengar and a Dark Chow on top of our comics. Wonderful. Just some random dinosaur stuff. She loves dinosaurs, guys. Oh my goodness. Well, here's more dinosaurs. here's some Velociraptors. One from each of the original trilogy. And a little plush Master Chief. So this is my girlfriend's work area. This is her desk. She works from home, and here is her little collection of figures, so you can kind of see what she's into, which character she likes. She's very much a character-specific person, unlike me, who will sort of like, I gotta buy the Avengers, I gotta buy the whatever, you know. She is totally fine just getting character-specific things, and so that is exactly what this is. So if you see these are some of her favorite characters in plastic form. That's very self-explanatory, you know. This is her desk. Got Fiona there, so that's from G.I. Joe. It should be on the G.I. Joe shelf, but she wanted the Croc. It's hers. She also is a big fan of Evil Lyn, so that's why she has those. Here we have some more figures. This used to be my workspace, and then I can't work from home anymore, so Ray got into dolls, collecting dolls, and so here's some Bratz and some Monster High. Those are the two lines that she collects. Relatively new for her, but, you know, she's into it. These are just some art pieces that were a gift from her mother, and they're pretty cool. It's just like Marvel characters, and then we have another one that's themed around DC. DC is interesting because it's weirdly like modern and like New 52 themed, so it kind of clashes with the classic sort of like Marvel ones, but you know, whatever, it's fine. Who cares? Moving on to the Marvel Legends section. This is quite a bit. We've got some character shelves, and we've got X-Men up top here. Just sort of the general Marvel Legends X-Men, kind of that 90s era. The cartoon is a big inspiration, so that's, you know, why I've got sort of X Factor like they are there. and then just, you know, various X-Men villains. I've got Scarlet Witch up there, you know, debatable if she's a villain. I don't really, whatever. She's been a part of the Brotherhood. Sentinel, no, it's not the HasLab. What are you gonna do? Either way, here's a bunch of other, you know, X-Men. The X-Men you think of. It's those famous designs. I don't know what I'm saying. Yeah, you know, if I were to get rid of Marvel Legends, X-Men would be one of the last that I would get rid of, I would say. They're just so iconic, you know? Even characters I don't like. I'm not a huge X-Force fan. I'm not a diehard Deadpool guy by any means. I actually don't like the character, but looks good on the shelf. There's that new Apocalypse. That's a good figure. Love him. Moving down, we have Captain America. I have a goal, sort of a goal, to own every Marvel Legends release of Steve Rogers, and so far, I'm doing pretty good. I don't have every figure. I think I'm missing like one or two, but we've got all of the MCU figures, and I've got a lot of comic figures. I've got quite a bit in terms of Steve Rogers. Steve Rogers is my favorite Marvel character, both comic book and movie-wise, so I just felt like I wanted to get figures of the guy. That's all. Hydra Stomper back there. Pretty cool, I guess. I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of What If. Just various other figures. Wolf Cap. Tons of Captain America goodness. I love that 20th anniversary. The Captain America, the Marvel Legends 20th anniversary. Good stuff. Love it. That's why it's front and center. We're still here. All right, moving down to my girlfriend's favorite Marvel characters, that being Bucky and Nat. Bucky, Nat, she's a bit of a shipper on that front, and so we've got a lot of those here. Not necessarily a completionist, mind you, but we do have a pretty decent amount of these sort of Black Widow and Winter Soldier figures and other characters in the world. You know, you saw Zemo over there, you see Red Guardian, obviously the Black Widow movie had a lot of figures. She decided to get those, so that Black Widow was clearly leaning. Didn't catch that before filming. Oops, what are you gonna do? You know, it's more realistic to keep it in, I would say, than fix it. That's my justification. Thanos. Thanos is one of my favorite Marvel villains. I know he is. He's my favorite Marvel villain. Yeah. I like the versatility that comes with Thanos. You can have him be this like big bruiser, sort of, you know, brute, big muscle guy, or you can have it very thought-provoking and introspective and a lot of different ways to take the character. I like that about Thanos. I think you can do a lot with him, and I thought that his movie version, while different from the comics, was very, very enjoyable, and I'm glad Thanos is now a known guy. You know, he's like Darth Vader, Voldemort. People know Thanos, and I think that's awesome. As a Thanos fan, I think that's really cool. So, happy to have a nice little Thanos collection, and moving on from that, we have my girlfriend's collection of Wolverine figures. She's a big fan of Laura Kinney, and by extension, that also means Logan as well. So, here's all of her Wolverine figures. Certainly not every Wolverine figure. There are a huge amount of Wolverine figures, but she's got a decent amount, you know? She's got a lot of the iconic costumes and different versions represented there. So, I mean, it's certainly not just like a bunch of randos. It's Wolverine. It's a lot of different versions of Wolverine. I'm sure she would want more versions of Laura Kinney as well, but hey, what are you going to do? She hasn't had nearly as many costumes as Logan, so kind of have to make do, if you will. But it's a good looking collection. You know, a lot of variety, a lot of different colors, a lot of yellow and brown and stuff. But there's some blue and various things. And then the miscellaneous shelf. You love to see it. Just randos, just characters we like. Random things that don't belong anywhere but here. So that's that's where they'll go. Really, not much to say other than it's just Marvel randomness. That's all. It's the bottom shelf. You're not going to put a lot of effort into the bottom shelf. That's just how it works. And here we have sort of the bulk of the Marvel Universe itself, consisting of heroes and villains. So going up on the top shelf, we have sort of the space-centric characters, the Guardians of the Galaxy, and then what I've kind of done here is have the space characters bleed into like space New York and then just New York. So like the Fantastic Four go to space, but they're based in New York. And then that sort of transitions into these sort of street level characters, huh? I don't know, I like what I did there. I think that's kind of neat. But just a lot of Avengers characters, obviously. The Marvel Universe is made up of a lot of Avengers and the X-Men. So we've got all those characters here. See, look, I knew I had another Scarlet Witch. There she is. She's represented on both sides. But gotta have Spider-Man front and center. Spider-Man is Marvel. That's just how it works. There's more Avengers characters here. Got that new Doctor Strange last year. Quite a good figure. Characters, take wing, if you will. I'm struggling a bit to sort of keep this part cohesive because this shelf is like so much longer than the other shelves and it's like lower, so I'm like crouched down and like trying to make sure everything is looking good. So if this part's a little wonky looking, I apologize. This part was difficult to film. This is just me being honest. The X-Men, pseudo modern, not really at all. Just the X-Men. Yeah, a lot of those figures are going to be replaced with like astonishing designs when those come out. Thanks to you, Xavier. You made all this worth it. What? Villains! Spider-Man villains. Much like how Batman has the most iconic rogues gallery in the DC universe, Spider-Man has the most iconic in the Marvel universe. No doubt. And so here's some Spider-Man villains. This is, I don't know, just some Sinister Six-esque guys. Sinister Six has had a lot of members, but there's this group, the Open Mouth Crew, teeth and tongues and all that. The Vulture. And then I guess this is kind of more street level, more like bank robbing, mafia types, and then the Green Goblin. So, I know Green Goblin has probably been on the Sinister Six before, but like, I don't think of Goblin as a Sinister Sixer. So, but yeah, here's some other villains. They're all, whatever, Spider-Man villains. You gotta choose your bets. So, your Spider-Man, a lot of Spider-Man. There's a lot of Spider people. So here's the sort of Spider-Verse. I guess I would call it the Spider-Verse. That's sort of the popularized term, And so a lot of people will be like, oh, the movie, or oh, this is based on the comic, or have that guy who made the 90s cartoon that's like, actually, I invented the Spider-Verse, and it's like, you didn't invent the concept of characters crossing over. Sorry. Just went on a random sort of rant there. Spider-Verse, look at all these spider characters. I got a lot of spider characters. Fun fact about me, I wasn't a big Miles fan or a big Spider-Gwen fan until that first Spider-Verse movie. Like, I know they're not like that totally in the comics, but in terms of the movie representation, I thought they were great. There's some Spider-Man, live-action Spider-Man back there. Some Funkos. I've got a few Funkos, but not a lot. Some more villains. We got some villains here. Marvel's got some pretty good villains, like Doctor Doom and Loki and Red Skull. Like there's quite a bit to enjoy, I would say. And so here they are. Here is the Marvel Universe villains, Marvel Legends villains. Some Hydra guys back there. Just general baddies and characters I like, I don't think Nuke is a high-profile villain, but he's there. That's good, right? And then, Dark Avengers. Anyone remember the Dark Avengers? I do. I would actually like updated versions of all these guys, but, or just a Dark Avengers Miss Marvel at all, considering we never got one. But in the meantime, I'll just be like Bullseye here, just screaming into the darkness. let's move to the kitchen, shall we? Because, no, we can't just keep the figures where they're supposed to be, like on shelves and whatnot. We gotta put them wherever they can fit. And so here they go. Here's some, various memorabilia things. That's all. We've got some various Captain America themed stuff over there. Just random stuff. It's very random up here. I'll probably be saying that a lot just because that's what it is. I don't know what else to really say about it. There's a Voltron. My girlfriend's a big fan of Voltron. The Immortal Red Fox. Check that out on YouTube. Some Turtles. Rise of the TMNT. It's a great cartoon. This is the Batman toy. Okay. Some Power Ranger stuff. We've got some figures and Zords. There's some signed VHS back there of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie. And then, yeah, these are all original. You know, they're kept very clean despite being in the kitchen. So if I see any comments about that, just know that they are totally fine. You know, they look great. Look how white he is. He's fine. He'll be okay. This is Zord. You know. Megaforce Morpher. It's kind of neat, right? Devastator, because that's the only place he'll fit, is somewhere up high, because, you know, gotta have space. It's just, yeah, dinosaur. It's Jeffrey. Bye, Toys R Us. There's some stuff, some Funkos, some Scooby-Doo McDonald's figures. Yeah, we don't have Fred. We still need Fred. So if you've got the Scoob Fred toy from McDonald's, please send it my way. DM me. Here's Spider-Man and Superman, best of pals, sharing a slice, maybe. Here's a Marvel Universe 2-pack. Great. Batman and Superman. We're not done with the DC fun just yet. Here we have the sort of Batman and Superman corner. Yeah, who doesn't love Batman and Superman? They're iconic. I love these characters. Here's some Superman figures, some DC Direct, DC collectibles, various things. And then we've got the Death of Superman as represented by these DC Icons figures. So, like those figures. They look really, really nice. I miss DC Icons. That was a good line. And then below that, we've got Batman. Just like Superman, we've got a bunch of random Batman figures. And then Batman versus Bane from The Dark Knight Rises. Into the bedroom here, we have some shelves to display just random knickknacks. We've got some Hot Toys. We've got Infinity War Bucky and Endgame Black Widow. Or Winter Soldier and Natasha. This is Rey's lightsaber from The Rise of Skywalker. Rey, my girlfriend, is a big fan of Rey, the character. And here's Hot Toys Anakin Skywalker. So 2 pieces of merch from 2 bad movies. Both of them suck. I don't care what people say. Here's some random stuff up here. Just characters and things that we like. So, yeah. There's that. It's Rodimus from More Than Meets the Eye. Edward Cullen Barbie. These Super 7 Ultimates figures for Alice in Wonderland. The Arkham Batman and an Iron Giant. Just things we like. That's all it is. Invincible. My girlfriend is a big fan of Invincible. Before the cartoon had come out, mind you, to be a hipster about it. And so, with the new figures out, she went ahead and purchased the Diamond Select Invincible figures, and if they release more, which I know they are, they're releasing Monster Girl at least, she'll be buying those too. And then we also have these, which are those like exclusive. I think they are exclusive to like subscription boxes or whatever. I think they're from McFarlane from back in the day. These are like OG Invincible toys. This is a complete set, and so she had purchased all of these right before the cartoon came out. So she got them at a pretty decent price. Like anywhere between I think $10 to $25, and I think now they're way more expensive than that. Here's some other stuff that's just in the bedroom because we like it. Here are, our favorite characters. We got Black Widow and Captain America. And then we've got our two favorite Batman villains, that being Harley Quinn and Mr. Freeze. So, represented in that BTAS style because, you know, it's BTAS. And here we have Ray's Jurassic Park collection. With some Jurassic World and stuff, what's in there, but mainly Jurassic Park. It's a lot, as you can see. We're still looking at it. Wow. Here's the top, which mainly consists of Funko Pops and then various dinosaur-themed memorabilia. So we've got all of those there. That's all it really is. She wanted to collect them all, but now they keep releasing like these big sort of set piece ones, and those take up a lot of room, and you know, not exactly cool. And then we've got the Transformers 2-pack, some old school dinosaur toys, Littlefoot, of course. And then we've got the Jurassic Express. Here's some Jurassic Park stuff. This is pretty much all the newer stuff from Mattel. It's all their stuff, which is pretty good, you know, pretty good for what it is. So we've got some of the vehicles, we've got some of the characters, we got little Timmy, he's having a ball up there. There's the Alan Grant. She's got quite a few Alan Grant. She's a big Alan Grant fan. Even though she's met Jeff Goldblum in person and gotten a signature from him, so what are you gonna do? I'm sure she would meet Sam Neill if given the chance. Here's the park dinosaurs. So these are specifically from the 3 films: Jurassic Park, The Lost World, Jurassic Park, and Jurassic Park 3. So that's all of them there. You know, it's Jurassic Park is like her Star Wars. Well, I mean, she likes Star Wars too, but like she loves all the films, even though 2 is not as good as the first one, and 3 is not as good as those others. She loves them all in her heart. They'll always have a special place for her. So there's that. Below that, we've got some more goodness. We've got some like scene-specific character bits. I believe that pack was an exclusive. We've got some stuff going on there. We've got Spinosaurus, the original sort of Mattel release. She's a big Spino fan. She thinks that Spinosaurus is better than the T-Rex. So, look at this. Look out, Sarah Harding. There's a car there. They're not doing anything about it. They could not care less. And then here's her world representation. Yeah, she's not the biggest fan of Jurassic World, if you believe it or not. And so these are all the world stuff that she used to have more, actually, but she actually sold. Did she sell them or just? Yeah, she sold them. And then we gave some to our friend, Frank, as well. But she sold most of them. So this is all she has left of Jurassic World. She is not a fan. Now that Universal has like moved from park to world, she's actually quite upset about it. And then here's kind of, I guess, like the big bads, you know, like each movie's main villain in a way. So you got the Spino. Well, the Source wasn't a villain, but it was big. Indoraptor. Indominus Rex. They make cool toys. Say what you want about the films, but the toys are pretty neat. We got the T-Rex. And then this is just a random Stegosaurus. I don't even know why that's here. Here's my desk back in the bedroom. This is sort of where I'm recording right now. And so there's my Sonic figures. Quite a fan of Sonic the Hedgehog. So I've got a lot of the smaller 2.5-inch figures. I think there's just a better scale thing going on, because Sonic is supposed to be like 3 feet tall, and Eggman is like a full-grown ass man. So it just makes more sense to have Eggman be taller than the rest, and so that's why I kind of mix and match the 4-inch figures with the 2.5-inch figures to kind of make my own scaling thing. Here's Mario. Mario doesn't have that problem, so he just gets to have the 4-inch figures. There's some more Mario figures there. And then a signed copy of Super Mario 64 by Charles Martinet, the voice actor for Mario. Here's some Metroid and Portal stuff. I like Portal, I like Chell, and I also like Metroid and Samus. So, you know, that's kind of Mario and Sonic when you think about it. Interesting. There's Daisy. I main Daisy in Mario Kart. So, here's some as if any of you care. Here's some boxed figures just on the wall. Just random stuff. Things that either I like the character or they don't have like a place on a shelf, or if I just like the boxes. There's a couple different reasons why a lot of this is sort of kept here, but yeah, it's just stuff that I like. This is just, you know, Star Wars. That's all that really is. Sure, more Samus stuff. Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot to say about it. I sort of explained it. It's just things and characters that I like. Although this is signed by Charlie Cox, so there's a bit more of a reason for that to be kept in box. It's the first wrestling figure I ever bought, Sheamus. And then these two figures coming up, Raven is signed by Tara Strong, and so is this Harley Quinn. They weren't even supposed to be. I went to a convention and like I showed her that I got them because I was young and whatever, and she's like, "I'll sign them for you," and I was like, "Okay, sure." Odyssey Mario, and then of course Solomon Grundy. If you know, you know. Moving on, we've got some Power Rangers and G.I. Joe shelves, which is great. I don't need to sound so pessimistic. Power Rangers. We've got some sort of random stuff up here. We've got some Legacy figures from Bandai. My girlfriend's favorite Zordon era team is Zeo, so that's why we have those. And then here's some remnants from when I was collecting during the Super Megaforce days, with behind that being the new Hasbro Morpher, still in box. And then there's some Rangers that came out. Here's some Funko Pops of Zed and Rita. There's Rito and Alpha. Aye, indeed. Below that starts the Lightning Collection because it's Power Rangers. You got to have Lightning Collection, right? We've got some baddies over here. Some a lot of Mighty Morphin era figures going on, obviously, because Mighty Morphin started it all. You know, people can sort of say that we're tied to Mighty Morphin, which is fair, but at the same time, you can't deny its importance to the brand. You know, like when people think Power Rangers, your average Joe, they're going to think Mighty Morphin. So, quite a bit of Mighty Morphin representation. And even then, there's still a bunch of Mighty Morphin stuff I haven't bought. So, there's that. Here we have sort of further seasons in the world of Power Rangers. We've got Zeo, of course, stronger than before. Looks like we've got Jason and a second Jason. You know, no other person was the Gold Ranger that I'm aware of. Phantom Ranger made my top 10 last year. In Space, one of the better seasons, you know, with the Psychos back there. I mean, yeah, just there's a lot of Power Rangers to collect. I don't know what I'm going to do soon because it's already starting to fill up. So I'm going to have to start cramming people in. I'm not excited about that. We'll see what happens. Ooh. More figures. That's all I can really say. We're almost... Well, not really, because we're almost done with the main team of Dino Charge, but there's like 10 figures, so they're like halfway done. SPD, we're almost done with SPD, so we'll get some more eventually, but SPD, even better than In Space, in my opinion. That's just me saying that. Dino Thunder, another team that we're going to be finished with this year, so looking forward to that. And then down here, we sort of just have like general Hasbro era. We've got the Beast Morphers. And then we've got some of the non-Lightning Collection, just sort of general release, mainline Beast Morphers figures. I was really hyped for Beast Morphers because it was Hasbro's first crack at Power Rangers, so I wanted to see what they would do. So I got all of that stuff. Yeah, that's all it really is. Yeah. And then below that, we have just sort of generalized Japanese media. So we've got some Yu-Gi-Oh stuff and some Dragon Ball stuff that I'm a fan of, as well as some other things that are more geared towards my girlfriend's stuff, such as, well, we'll see some stuff coming up. But yeah, a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh, big Yu-Gi-Oh guy, well, like old school Yu-Gi-Oh. I haven't kept up. These Gundam figures, for my girlfriend Kirby. She's a big fan of Kirby, but who isn't? So, and some characters she likes that are Ranger specific, and Yu-Gi-Oh. All right, let's get to the G.I. Joe stuff. Big fan of Cobra Commander, which I guess, makes sense. Being a fan of Starscream, they're not really the same character. People always say they have like the same voice, and I mean, they both have a raspy Chris Latta voice, but I say there's differences. But that's whatever. These are my Cobra Commander figures. I'm a big fan of Cobra Commander, and so we live in an age where a new Cobra Commander thing is announced every month. So I have a much bigger collection now than I did a couple years ago, which is fine by me. That new O-Ring Cobra Commander is pretty cool. Sky Striker's on the way, folks. Here is the sort of main Cobra collection for G.I. Joe Classified. So, if anyone from Hasbro is watching, I mean, look how much money I'm giving you guys. No, I mean, I love G.I. Joe. I love that what the Classified line has become. It was sort of had its awkward early years, but I think it's really grown into something that a lot of fans can appreciate. And yeah, I think there's tons of really good stuff coming from Classified. And I haven't even bought everything, so there's tons of stuff that I haven't sort of gotten yet or just aren't interested in, but there's still, even with my limitations, I still have quite a sizable collection of G.I. Joe Classified figures, which I think is cool. I think it's good to have options, To have this much and still be picky. I mean, I'm obviously not that picky. The G.I. Joe, the Joes as well. Got to have them if you're going to have Cobra. Not as many because we don't have army builders, of course. That's the main difference. But yeah, these look really, really nice. And we've got some more Classified coming along the way. But I guess this is sort of like the main Joe team in a sense. And I like these. There's a lot of good to be had in here. I don't think there's a bad looking one in the bunch. You can have your gripes about the earlier figures or whatever, but I think they all have their own positives to be seen. And then more Classified because they won't fit on one shelf. Here's some alternate Joe characters, like Gung Ho and Lady J, and there's Timper, of course. Got to give Timper his moment to shine. But I do have Sergeant Slaughter from Valorverse. I've got the Classified one on the way, but there's some more guys back there. We got a lot of the Cobra bad guys, just additional bad guys, alternate Zartan, alternate Destro, some Vipers, some Bats back there you'll see in a second. We've got the Snake Eyes movie crew, good looking figures, whatever your opinion is of the movie, it's fine. There's some Bats. Here's just some of the, what did they call those? Was it Retro Collection? Is that what they were called? The newer, but somehow older 3 3/4 inch figures, because G.I. Joe started, well, no it didn't. G.I. Joe started as like Barbie-sized dolls, but Real American Hero started as 3 3/4 inch figures, so I felt like I had to have it appropriately, a designated spot for some of the 3 3/4 inch figures here. Even if these aren't the originals, they're just a little something. Just something to represent the era. And then down here, we have a bit more random stuff. Just some bits and pieces. Some of those newer O-Ring figures, which I think are great. I really like them. They're sturdy. They look nice. They're different enough. Here's a random Cobra Fang. And then two dudes just having a chat, They're just like hanging out. Here's some random inbox figures. We've got the Ninja Turtles. I don't have a lot of turtle stuff, but I do have these. These came out in 2014, 2016, somewhere around there. They're just vintage turtles with the Nickelodeon 2012 logo. And then I have some My Hero figures, just because I really like My Hero. I like a lot of the characters and the designs, and so I don't need a full-on collection, but these little McFarlane figures are nice just to have a little in-box representation of these guys. So that's why I bought them. They're very simple, and if I see them, I buy them, and I like that. So last bit of the room tour, not room tour, it's a whole apartment, is the closet here, which is, like I said, our final stop. So we have, of course, Star Wars, nothing but. We've got very much like G.I. Joe, but in actuality, it did start as a 3 3/4 inch line. So it's good to pay respect. You know, we gotta pay respect to the classics and only the most iconic Star Wars characters on this shelf. You know, this is the top tier. Who you think of when you think Star Wars? Nobody else. There's no, you know, B stringers or C stringers. It's all icons of Star Wars for sure. There's some Lego sets as well. Below that is, of course, the start of the Black Series collection. This is all of like original trilogy and prequel trilogy characters. I wish I had more. I don't know. Star Wars isn't a priority of mine, but I do have a decent amount of Star Wars. Got Vader, classic Vader, and then a lot of the prequel stuff. So a lot of the main characters of the prequel series there. So I like that. Below that, we sort of have the animated shelf, I guess you could call it. So we've got a lot of Clone Wars era stuff. I'm a big fan of Clone Wars. That probably might be my favorite era of Star Wars, I think. Man, maybe the original trilogy. It's between those. And then, of course, we also have the Bad Batch. Girlfriend Rey is really into the clones. She loves the clones, and so, of course, she loves the Bad Batch. We've got a little bit of video game representation there. And then we also have the Rebels crew. So, as I mentioned, a lot of animated Star Wars lore going on here. And then below that is the live-action Disney Star Wars stuff. So we've got Reylo, big fan of Rey and Kylo. So they have their own little section there. And then we've got The Mandalorian, mainly just Season 1. You know, I preferred Season 1 over Season 2, honestly. And then just those guys. Random figures. We've got some Halo. Halo's cool. Some nice Jazzwares. Halo, I think it's Jazzwares, right? Yeah. And then some other stuff. And then just more random stuff down here. So, enjoy. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 was a movie that came out, and I decided to buy a bunch of merch from it. I mean, I don't know why, but I did, so I hope you appreciate it. It's a lot. It takes up 2 shelves. So if you remember, I did a video about the McDonald's toys. You can check that out. Here's some other Sonic figures, of course, in different scales. And then these masks are left over from a birthday party I went to. It was like a gag thing. Yeah, more Sonic 2 stuff. There's some vehicles. This is the Death Egg robot, which is totally covered by these figures. So, yeah, just Sonic 2 figures. I'm assuming all the Sonic 2 merch is done now, hopefully, so I don't have to buy any more, but here's all the Sonic 2 stuff. Yeah. It's not like I love the movie either. It was alright. Here's wrestling. Yeah, I don't buy a whole lot of wrestling figures anymore. I used to, but I think I'm pretty content with what I have, I would say. Yeah, you know, these are just some of my favorite people in wrestling right now and ever, whatever. So, yeah, that's just sort of what they are. There's some WWE, there's obviously some AEW, so that is what I get there for being a wrestling fan. This is what I get. And then continuing the sort of like going from WWE to what is this called? Motu. It's Mattel is what I was trying to get out. It's like a Mattel theme. Yeah, here's the Motu Origins figures, which are pretty cool. I'm not like the biggest Motu guy, but they're colorful and fun, and gosh, it's so hard to say no to some of these designs. They're just so appealing. They're so toyetic, if you will. And so I'm happy to have what I have. Maybe a couple more wouldn't hurt, but here's some more Mattel stuff, which is cool. Here is a sort of bleed over of McFarlane figures, because they don't all fit on one shelf. So here we have the Blackest Night wave that I reviewed on this channel. Please, check it out after this if you'd like. It's neat. And then here's just a Superman. This is that sort of like post-Convergence. You guys remember Convergence? It's like that storyline. Here's Batman. Can never have enough Batman. I've got so much Batman, he gets his own stupid shelf back here. But I mean, I'm the one that buys it, so who's the fool? What's that line Obi-Wan says? The fool or the fool that follows him. Like that. But yeah, there's a bunch of Batman stuff, alternate outfits and villains you can see back there. There's a bunch of Batman goodness. There's some Funko Pops. I hate Funko. Here's some plushes. Here's all the plushes that we own. Besides that Gengar and the Dark Child that's in the living room. Here's a bunch of other plushes. Do you guys collect plushes? I got a decent amount. Those are original Care Bears there. You see that? It's from my mom. She gave me those. Freddy Freaker. And that's it, guys. That's the collection. I showed you everything that I have. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. It was a really interesting year last year. I got to do some different stuff, and I hope you guys enjoyed it because I had fun doing it. So expect some new stuff this year as well. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm at Anthony Lantern on Instagram and Twitter if you feel obliged to check that out. But really, thank you guys so much for watching. Take care.